Hey quilters, it's Marianne Fontana, fontanaoriginals.com. I am working on my newest design called Pink Tourmaline. It's 3 colors and it's a very simple quilt. It uses a lot of large pieces, a lot of black space to really create a design, very modern looking. And I basically used black, which is a shaded black. If you notice, I don't necessarily use solids all the time, but if you could see, it's kind of a shaded, cloudy look. And then I have a bright, hot pink that I'm using, and then a very light white, beige, creamy color. And those are the 3 colors. Let me tell you about the fabric requirements. Colors. For the, let's just call it off-white for now, 1.5 yards. For the hot pink, 1 1/8. And for the black, 4 5/8. We're going to cut some big pieces with the 6.5 inch strip cutter and with the rotary cutter, so be sure you have a sharp blade on your rotary cutter. So let me show you the shapes. It's very, very simple. Every single block is made like this. It's 8 triangles with a center block. That's all it is we're going to use a 12-inch cube, and we're going to make 12-inch blocks. And for shape number 1, which is the large square, we're going to cut 1 black and 20 white. For the shape number 3, which is the half square triangle, finishes at 6 inches, we are going to cut 20 white and 64 black. And for the shape 4, which is the quarter square triangle, also in the 12-inch cube, we're going to cut 84 in pink. That's going to create our 12-inch blocks. Then we're going to make 6-inch blocks with the 6-inch cube. And again, we're going to repeat the pattern. We're going to use the same shape. Shape number 1, which is the large square, only this time we're going to cut 16 white. Shape number 3, which is the half square triangle, we're going to cut 48 white and 16 black. And then on shape number 4, which is the quarter square triangle, we are going to cut 64 pink. And that is all we have to do as far as cutting the shapes go for the blocks. We do have setting pieces to do, and we're going to cut them all from black because it's predominantly a black background. I'm just looking to see if I still have my shapes here. Here they are. And from that, we're going to use a 6.5 inch strip cutter, and I cut 16 6.5 by 12.5 inch pieces, and then I used my rotary cutter. And if you haven't used an AccuQuilt rotary cutter, it's really great. They're titanium blades. They're very sharp. Anyway, I cut 8 12 by 24 inch rectangles. And those are all the pieces for the quilt. Next, I want to show you, I've actually made all the 12-inch already, and we're going to go to the sewing machine, and I'm going to show you how to put together these ones because they're faster to sew together, because there's less sewing, because they're smaller. So rather than waste your time in showing you the same sewing and over again, this is a very simple block, a very simple quilt, and all you need to do is see how to put together the block one time, and you'll be a pro. But I already made the 12-inch block, so I'm just going to show you. I had to make one in... So make one with the black center, and there it is. I had to make 4 that had white on the 2 inside and the outside, and there they are. There's 4 I made. And then lastly, because there's a lot of black in the background, I had to make 16 of these, and these are all 12-inch blocks, and I've got them all here. I've got 16 of them. So I have made all the 12-inch blocks already, and we're going to go to the sewing machine and sew the inch together to show you the different colorways and how to do it. And it'll be done. It's that. I've laid out the pieces for the square and the first set of triangles. Now, you might ask, well, why isn't this a square on point if we're doing triangles? Well, this is just a square, a triangle, and a triangle, and a triangle, and a square. It is just a regular shape number 1. Just so you can see, the 12-inch blocks are these, and we've done a variety of colors. There was one that was the middle piece, and then these are these 6-inch blocks that go around. And so we're going to make 4 of one, and we're going to make 12 of the other. One thing I noticed when laying them out is that the centers and the first row are exactly the same. So rather than making 4 of these and 12 of these, I'm going to go ahead and chain piece all 16 together. And then when it's time, I'll split them up and put the black and the off-white on. I have shape 1 on the left, and I have the shape 4s on the right, and I've turned these all wrong sides facing up, although I don't think I did these, so I'm going to have to be careful to make sure I flip them as I go. But I'm going to set them down, and I'm going to just chain piece them all together. And they match up beautifully. It's very simple. Okay. Now we're going to be making a total of 16 blocks, 4 with a black outside and the rest with the off-white. And so I'm just going to go down all the sides just like that. I'm going to keep sewing them and sewing them. And when I'm done, let's do one more, just because 3 seems like a good number, right? To demo. And I always start with my needle in, and then I can adjust to make sure it lines up beautifully. And I just hold it to the end. And when I'm done with my 16 pieces, I'll pick it up, I'll turn it around, I don't cut anything, and then I'll go up the other side. Always sew opposite sides. It will keep your fabric straighter, and there'll be less wonkiness, if any. I use a 1/4 inch foot all the time. It really saves everything. With perfect cuts and perfect seams, guess what? You get perfect matching points and everything. It's just a pleasure. So, one more. Now, I will have obviously sewn 16, but for purposes of the, you knowing how to do it, this is all you really need to see, because it's simple. Now I'm going to go ahead and get my scissors, and I'm going to cut these, because I'm going to go add the shape number 4 in the opposite direction now. Okay, so here they are. Here's my stack, and I'm not going to iron them. I'm just going to finger press very gently with my nail. If you don't have a nail, use the pad of your finger. If you don't, you can use a little wooden dowel or implement to press it down. And then I'm going to go ahead and just match this up. Look how the corners fit right there. See it? Okay, easy. Put my foot down, and it's absolutely a perfect match. There's no stretching. There's no need to pull anything. This is a new sewing machine I got, by the way. It's a Bernina 570. I traded in my 560 for it, and I'm still getting used to it, because there's a little pressy button for it, foot up, foot down, as opposed to a lever in the back. So anyway, so I'm going to do 3. And I always will start there, and then once the needle's down, I make sure my other piece matches up, and I continue to sew. And if you notice, I'm just overlapping these, and I am just giving them a very light finger press. And I just let them run over on top of each other, because as long as you don't sew them down, you're fine. They're loose. And just match up that square corner. Get it started. Go down, make sure the other one is even. And cut it off. And again, this is it. It's all you have to do. I turn it around. You don't even have to open this, because it doesn't get in the way of sewing this side. The only thing I would do is just make sure, you know, you have it finger pressed down over there. Put it in place. Put your foot down. Again. And this is the third one I'm doing. And you can see as easy as that. Oh, did I get caught? There we go, we're good. Oh, a little stuck, so I'm gonna lift my presser foot up. And just move it a little tiny bit. Put it back down. And go back and finish. And it's still nice and even. Yep, still getting used to it, as I said. So let's back out a little bit. And there we are. I'll cut one off for you. And let's just look, and there we are. Half the block is done. Wasn't that easy? Now we'll either go back and add the same tone in here, or we'll add the black. Let's do the black. And I'll show you how to sew the 4 in, and that's it. That's all you have to do, except for rotary cutting those few pieces, and your quilt top is practically done. So I'm going to do the black ones, right sides down. And I'm going to get the needle in first, let it catch, and then I'm going to gently tug to make sure it matches. And then I'm going to make sure I'm not pulled in too far here, and sew. I'll get the next piece, lay it down flat, because again I'm going to chain piece these as well. And I'm going to just sew right into that point, get it to take up, line my pieces, make sure it's not you know, moved under here, they're matched up. Here's another one. And actually, we need to make 4 this colorway. If I was smart, I would have pieced 4 at one time, but that's okay. I can go back and piece it. It's the same piecing as this. I'll just have 4 of these left over to put together. You know, it'll be one more block. So I've gone up one side, cut my thread, turn it around the other way. You can let the pieces fall down. A lot of times I'll just let them sit in my lap so they don't create a drag. Because if you have a lot of pieces here, it could pull and stretch your fabric, which you don't want to do. So put them in your lap, put them by a table. Don't let them, you know, just fall to the ground, because they will stretch. So once I get that started, again, I go down, match it up, make sure that's good. Another piece. Point in, get it to catch, match the bottom. And the last one. And actually those 12-inch blocks that you saw, sometimes I time myself just to see how long it takes, just to get a sense of if it's easy or quick and stuff. I did those 12-inch blocks. Now I did 1 of the center blocks. Oh, that side's done now. I can turn. I'm going to trim these. I did 1 of the center block, and I did 16 of that one colorway, and I did them in about 2 hours. So I think it's a pretty quick quilt to put together. I think by the time we're done, you know, we'll maybe have 8 hours into it, which is not, I mean, I'm not talking about the cutting. The cutting's quick in and of itself, so that doesn't take much time at all. So anyway, so now I've turned them, and all I'm doing is doing a light finger press here, and I'm going to look and see how this lines up. See, that's a little off. I don't want to be that way, so I'm going to bring it down. You know, sometimes they fit a little differently. That I'm happy with. I'm going to keep that corner piece. See that like piece that's a little cornery piece matching this seam here. So that's going to be my guide. Foot down, always foot down. This takes a few setting stitches. I'm going to make sure the corner matches the corner, which it does. Pull my center, make sure it's not stretching. And as I did with the other one, I'm going to take it, finger press it. I'm going to go to the bottom. I didn't before. Take another piece. Line it up the same way that I've decided to do. Get it started. Make sure this lines up. So I just did that side. Let's turn it around. And again, I'm just, oh, I did two. Two's enough to figure it out, right? All right, so let's go here again. Match up the little point there with the point. See, there's actually a little space there, but that's okay. Can you see that? You see? It's a little space. But what's more important is it matches with the seam here. And then it actually is even and will match the same way there. So I always kind of check the block out to see the best fit, you know, the shape before I go ahead and stitch it in the first couple times. So then I get a little pattern and a little my method, and I know how to lay them out. So again, match it up the same way. Get it started. Pull it down a little bit. Make sure the center's lined up. Oh, I lost you, didn't I? I forgot all about you. Let's go back. Here we are. And let's just, you know what, even though this one only has the one side, let's look at this again. And I'll go back and do the other side. This was the third one. Okay. Stop. Oh, press this one down. Just like that, that's all. Easy enough. And that's just sewn different, little wonky. I don't worry about that. Okay, now with the exception of this last one, all four are sewn on. So we'll skip past this one, and then we'll look at one of these. And that actually, my fellow quilters, is all you have to do to make this quilt, besides cutting the 6.5-inch strips and cutting the shapes. Finished block. So there you go. And that's all you have to do to make the pink tourmaline quilt. I'll show you how to assemble it next. Okay, now I've changed studios because I wanted to show you how to put together the pink tourmaline quilt. I'm going to go down to the design board first so we can just recap all the pieces that we have, make sure you have everything, and then we're going to switch and I'm going to put it all up on the back wall for you so you can see how to assemble it. I don't think you need me to teach you how to sew straight lines, so I'll just show you the assembly. Okay? Just to refresh your memory, this is the finished quilt and what it looks like. And I've made all my blocks. I have 2 stacks of blocks. 1 stack are all my 6-inch blocks and 1 stack are all my 12-inch blocks. Just to recap, I've made 4 blocks, and these are called 8 triangles. This is not a triangle on point. This is just a regular, a square on point. This is not a square on point. This is just a regular square, the shape 1 in the 6-inch cube, and then the other triangles on the outside, which are the shapes 3 and 4. Okay, so I've made 4 of these with the black on the outside. Then I've made the same center units, which have the ivory and the pink, with the ivory on the outside. I've made 12 of these. And on the 12-inch block, I have made 1 with the black, pink, and beige version. That is my center setting piece. I have made 4 that are the beige, pink, and beige. And I have made 16 of the beige, pink, and the black on the outside. So I am ready to assemble. I have also, in addition to all of those, and that's exactly the same block, just different cubes to make them, I have also cut 16 6.5 by 12.5-inch rectangles. I used the 6.5-inch strip cutter, and then I just cut them with the rotary cutter. And then I had to cut manually 8 12 by 24-inch pieces. So with that, I am ready to assemble. Okay, it's time to put our quilt together. Now, what I did, first of all, let's talk about it a little bit. This is not an on-point design. Everything is sewn straight. However, you do have to start in the middle and work your way around because not all the blocks can be sewn in rows because you're using two different sizes. So let's begin. Start right in the middle. I've placed the middle piece. That's my center piece. That we made one of those. Then we made 4 of this. This is the 6-inch block with the black trim. So I took one of those and put them up already, but they go in the 4 corners. And this is going to be like a large 9 patch. And here. Now you can see I've taken some of those 6.5 by 12.5 inch blocks, strips that we cut from the strip cutter, and they will be the rest of our 9 patch. So you're going to sew the 6-inch to the 6 by 12 strip to the 6-inch with the black outside. They're both the same. You're going to sew the center square to a 6 by 12 and a 6 by 12 on the long side, and then you're going to sew the 2 corners into another of the 6 by 12, and then you're going to sew them together in 3 rows, and that is your center medallion, if you will, and that is a 9 patch. Okay, so I'm actually putting this together for the first time. We're going to see how good I am at this, and I have a fear I'm going to run out of wall space, so I may have to shift it down and just do one side for you. Okay, so let's just see how far we get. Now the next ones I have to use are the black ones with the white and the pink, and I have to use 8 of them, and I'm supposed to put them like this. 1, 2, see how big it gets so quickly? 2, okay, 2, now I'm gonna have to move this down. 3, no, he has 3. Notice I'm not putting them on the corners. 4. And what I do is I lay it out on the floor to make sure I get it correctly the first time, and then I'll number them in rows or sequences or make myself notes and try to remember. Okay, so we're just still putting it down. There's 8 of these that we're using in this section. Right, 2, 4, 6, 8. I've got my centers, and now in the middle, in the corners, go those 4 blocks we sewed with the beige outside instead of the black. Okay, so 1. Let's put this one here too. I knew I was going to run out of room, but you can see it's a really big quilt, and it goes together really fast. And you know me, I like things that look complicated, that are really easy to do. And what it is, it's about your eye and how it travels around the quilt. And, you know, trying to pick out exactly how they were put together is kind of sometimes the mystery. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew these 4 pieces together as a strip. I'm going to sew the bottom 4 together as a strip. I'll sew these 2 pieces together, then onto the center. These 2 pieces onto the center. And again, you assemble it like a 9 patch, row, row, row. Easy. So give me a few seconds. I'm going to switch off because obviously I've run out of room, and I'm going to move everything down, take this row off, and then we can talk about the last row that goes on. But see how quickly it increases in size, and I think it's a fun pattern. So I moved everything down, and now this is the center, and I did leave these corners in just simply because the blocks fit with it. You noticed they're not meeting at a seam here, they're meeting at the strip. Okay, so this is where I'm at so far. I've got 2 more rows to put on. Now, this is also can be used as one of my AccuQuilt patterns, which basically allows you to make it bigger or smaller by adding rows in the round. You're limited only by the sizes of the blocks. So I have 6-inch blocks and 12-inch blocks. So that is the increments that you can expand or contract a quilt in. Keep in mind, if you put 6 inches on this side, you're going to put 6 inches on that side. So you're actually expanding the quilt 12 inches. And then if you use the larger ones, because they're 12 inch, you're actually expanding it 24 inches. So the quilt gets big really fast when you go around in rows, even if you're using the small blocks. All right, so I'm going to look at my pattern. I have the benefit of being able to see this. So I have to place all of these 12 pieces around the edges now, and they're going to go like this. 1, and I just want to see how they have me spacing them. 2, looks like here. Now, you know what? The best way for me to do it is I've got to put these pieces in the middle, in between them. So if I put one here, I put that one there. Oh, see, that helps me measure. See that? All right, and we're going to put another one of these Those are those 6 by 12-inch finished pieces, or they will be when you're done. Okay, put another piece. And this is all straight sewing. There's no funny Y seams. The only problem I think I'm going to have is I have another row to put on. I think I'm running out of space again. But you'll get the idea. And, you know, I don't need to sit at the sewing machine. And you can watch me sew these together. It's not necessary. But these will just continue around. And you'll just alternate them. And just lay them out first. And there's 4. Yeah, that's correct. And I need a strip now. And then I would continue down in that manner and go all the way around. Let's do this. Okay. Again, I'm not doing the very bottom simply because I've run out of space. But these are just alternate. They're fairly easy. But look how cool that looks. Doesn't that look? And it's so easy to sew together is the fun part. Oops. Peekaboo. All right. And there's big pieces. It goes together quick. It is a good quilt for a beginner because it's straight seams. And with the AccuQuilt, the AccuQuilt accurate cuts, it's going to be great. Oh, lost my name. Let's put this back up here. Okay, so that's kind of the next row, and then there is one more row to go, and obviously I'm only going to be able to build part of it because I've run out of room. We are going to be using the last pieces of the large blocks, and we're going to be using these huge strips that we cut, which are 12 by 24. And these will go, let me just start in the middle. There's 3 of these on a side, which means we're using 8 of them. I don't think I can reach there. All right, let's do here. This one goes here in the corner, okay? And then you put one of these here, big nice space. And then you put another one of these, which this actually matches up with this piece here, that black piece. Okay, and then we've got to get another one of those. And I have this problem. I'm a little bit vertically challenged, which means I'm short. So I'm not sure how. Let's see if we can get up there. Okay. I don't know if it's going to stay. All right. So, but you get the idea. I have a feeling it's going to fall down on me. And then we're going to put one in the middle. And it actually lines up with this here. Okay, and then that's the quilt, and it's really big. It's 86 by 86, which means it's 7 feet by 7 feet. That's 84, so it's just over 7 feet. But it goes together really quick. I sewed all the pieces together in one day. It's all the same stitch. It's all the same design. Not the same stitch. It's all the same pattern. It's just making them bigger or little. I'm going to go ahead and sew them together. The best way when you sew them is do as you would a 9 patch. Lay it out. Sew the row, the bottom row, add the sides, lay that out, put the next row around it, sew the top row, the bottom row, add the sides, you know, then put it together and move it on because they don't match up necessarily. Some places they do, some places they don't. But if you just go around in circles, it'll be done in no time. I'm going to go ahead and sew it together now, and I will show you the finished piece, and we could chat a little bit more about it. Pink tourmaline. Looks like the picture. I think it did good. Anyway, this measures 84 by 84. I did quilt it myself on the long arm. I used a ruler. I'll put some close-up pictures. But what basically I did is I stippled the entire black background section, and then in each of the off-white sections I used a similar color thread, and I did some ruler work. The overall size is 84 by 84. Now this is one of the patterns, the quilts that I'm designing, and what I call an expand pattern, because I've gotten requests and I've seen a lot of people make comments on the internet saying, well, I just don't want that size, I want a bigger one or a smaller one. So this quilt is designed to be able to be completed in either a 24-inch size, which would be this small piece. It would be like a table topper, and every time you add a row around, it would get bigger. So you can make it 24, 48, 60, 84, which is what this one is, 96, or 120 inches, which is a king size bed. Now you are limited to the sizes you can make because of the size of the blocks. So the 6-inch blocks either side will add 12 inches, and the 12-inch blocks on either side will add 24. That's pink tourmaline, and you should be able to make the pattern and the designs from the information in the video. But if you would like the information on the expanded pattern and just to have a printed copy, please go to Etsy and buy my pattern, and that is pink tourmaline at Fontana Originals on Etsy. Happy quilting.